Hi everyone and welcome to Club 4 episode 24 of Rolling in the Isles with me, the United City FM. Welcome along and welcome to a fairly weird kind of ending to a season. We are at the end of the season. I've had a bit of game time that I've played through that you weren't here for all number of reasons, and I will explain all as we get into it. So let's get into this episode. So, as I say, a bit of a weird ending to the season. We haven't been together for a little while. I've played through since we exited from the Champions League. I've basically played through to the end of the season. Now, originally I was going to come back for the Aston Villa game because mathematically that was when we were going to win the title, the Premier League title, which we have done, which is great. But to be honest, it was a non-event because a couple of days before it, on some random afternoon, I was sitting having a cup of tea at home, and I got a message saying that all of my rivals failed to make any inroads on me in their matches, and so we won the title without having to play a game. So it was a bit of a non-event, and at that point I just thought, we've won the Premier League, it's fantastic. We went out of the Champions League, which is very disappointing, so I might as well play through to the end of the season. We'll play one last game today against Bristol City to celebrate at home with the Premier League title, and then we will move forward into next season where we have to fully assault the Champions League. It's the only thing I care about from this point onwards. We've won cup competitions in this series, we've won different leagues in this series, including now the Premier League. And it is all that I care about is to get to that Champions League final. So next season, that's what we're going to be doing, focusing solely on that. I probably won't show you Premier League matches. We'll probably switch and play the Champions League games. So we'll play possibly 3 group matches, and then we'll play every second leg all the way through to hopefully the final, if we can get there, of all of the knockout rounds. So that's the plan for next season. But for this season, we do celebrate the fact that we won the Premier League. It was a good win in the end. We've had a good run of form since that departure from the Champions League. We've won plenty of matches, drawn a couple too, but that's okay. We've put occasionally a slightly weaker side out here and there just to rest players and get people more game time. But you can see that the run of form had a few goals in it, which is fantastic to see. And so that's the recent results and the recent form. If we go and have a look at the championship table, you can see that in the end, we won it by a good clear margin, and we've still got potentially 3 more points we can add. I was hoping to get to the 100-point mark. The most we can do today if we beat Bristol City is to get to 99, which is unfortunate in its way, but that's okay. That's just one of those things. I'm really happy with how the Premier League panned out. I thought we dominated it fairly early on, and look at the likes of Liverpool. We've turned that around hugely so on them and put a big gap between us and them. And then the likes of Spurs, Arsenal, City, our old side, Derby County, all in our wake, which is fantastic to see. We were runners-up in the Super Cup. We got knocked out by Liverpool in the FA Cup. We won the Carabao Cup, the League Cup in England. So that's another piece of silverware. So we've done a domestic double, which is great. But it's that Champions League knockout round against Olympique Lyonnais that is the most disappointing aspect. I thought we had a really good chance this season of getting all the way through to the final. It wasn't to be. Next season, that is the intention and the aim. Just before we get into the game, you can see that we've got our player stats here. And the stars of our show have basically been Rivero at the back is always solid. He's such a good central defender and a real brick that we put our team around, really, the foundation of our side. But then it's Ulysses. Most assists, most goals for the season, all from the left side wing position, which is great. He scored 20 goals in 43 starts across the season. He got 11 assists in that time as well, and has been absolutely phenomenal for us this year. Whilst we were having a few striking issues in terms of getting our main goal scorers to get the goals, he was supremely consistent all the way through the season, backed up very ably by Cesar down that left-hand side and a number of other players. But for today, we go and concentrate one last time on the Premier League. We have Bristol City at home to celebrate the Premier League title. So let's get into the tactics page and see what we've got planned for them. So naturally, what we've got planned for them is the 4-2-3-1 in our attacking mentality with all the instructions that we've been playing recently. This has been a good run of form, so it's working very nicely now. The likes of Ulysses, we've already had a look at and how successful he's been. The two new boys that came in January, Claudio Roberto came in, played a few games for us. If we go and have a look at his specific history, you can see he got 15 appearances in the Premier League, 3 goals, 3 assists. Not too bad for the second half of the season. Eventually, Noel settled into his stride and did very well as well. He played 15 matches, 3 goals, 4 assists, which is fantastic to see, and will continue to get better because this guy, I genuinely believe, is one of the best players in the game currently, and we will get the best out of him next season, I have no doubt. But they were ably assisted by the likes of Matilla and Olart. So we got good competition for places. The one area we struggled in is our striking position. And again, you can see that O'Connor, who has done really well for us in recent weeks, has just picked up a little bit of a knock for a couple of days as well. But if we look at him, you can see that since he came into the club, he's done pretty well. He's only played the 8 games because of injuries and other issues that he's had, but he's scored 8 goals in that time in the Premier League, which is great to see. If we come back out, you can see he scored 10 in about 12 games for us. I think that's really good, and there is a really good striker in here. At the moment, obviously, he's a little bit down because of his injury. If we can get him fully fit, his natural fitness is strong, so hopefully if we can get him a run of games next season, this guy can definitely get the goals for us. And we have got some good we've got some good rotation options in the likes of Okoro, who continues to improve at the age of 20. And also Steve Gibbons, who played a bigger part in the second half of the season and scored 17 in 25 starts this season. So not too bad from him. So there is goals in this team from all sorts of different angles. We've just got to get that striking position a little bit more consistent. And when O'Connor can get a full pre-season in front of him and get some good fitness from that, hopefully he can hit the ground running and get the goals next season. So what I would ask you is, just before we go into the game, is maybe other than the inconsistency of our striking position, what's your thought about how we can improve this side? Now we've got Brian McCann as a good 19-year-old youngster who's come into the starting lineup in the attacking midfield role and will continue to improve. And he's ably rotated with Foden, who is at the opposite end of the scale, 32 years old, still has got another season in him for Man City, though, I would suggest. So I think we've probably got that position covered. We've got the right side position covered with Olart and Noel. We've got left with Ulysses and Cesar sorted. Camavinga and Victor. If we look at Victor, he's played quite a few games for us this season and looked reasonable, although I think we can probably improve on him potentially. Does that mean that we look for a replacement for Camavinga and push him down the pecking order at 30, or do we just bring in somebody that can rotate below him in terms of his standing in the club? What do you think about that? I think we're sorted for the other central midfield position. I think our left fullbacks are good, but could be potentially improved upon. I think that the starting ones are good. Both Magnoni and Cruz down the left-hand side are decent starting, but I think we could possibly improve there. But we could definitely potentially improve on the backups for them. I think the backups are good because they're British players, and Jackson is fairly young, but I think maybe we can improve on them possibly. So yeah, let me know what you think about that. And central defence, I think we're coping quite well. The likes of Cork is on our bench, and you can see he's decent. So I think we're fairly sorted there. So is it the fullback area, What else would you improve about this particular side moving forward? Let me know about that in the comments below. But for today, one last game in the Premier League against Bristol City at home to celebrate the Premier League title. And to do it, we're putting as good a side out as we can. So it's Romero in goal, Rivero and Romario in central defence, Magnoni at right back, Cruz at left back, Camavinga, Roberto and Foden in central midfield, with Knoll on the right, Ulysses on the left and Gibbons up top, with a bench of Cork, Cooper, Victor, Matilla, Olart, Cesar and Okoro. So let's get into the final game of the season and see what happens. So I've put the pressure on them a little bit, said that I fully expect you to win to keep our run going. Bristol City come in with a 5-3-2 formation, going to be quite difficult to break down maybe. Would you consider that a 3-5-2 or a 5-3-2 if you're playing wing backs in that scenario? Personally, I think that's 5-3-2, but it's open to interpretation, isn't it? Anyway, that's the formation they're playing. So they are going to be tricky to break down, but I hope we've got enough about us really to get amongst them and work some magic somewhere. But it's a goal kick for us that goes into our left back position to Cruz, back into defence and up into Ulysses, who cuts in centrally off that left wing, goes right the way into the top of the penalty box, hands off to Knoll, who gets the overlapping fullback Cruz involved down the left-hand side. But we've stalled a little bit. Rise a challenge, though. And another challenge, gets into the box, into Ulysses, gets a chance at goal and puts it narrowly wide. We were a little bit fortunate, I thought, there, really. I thought Cruz was a bit lucky to get through both of those challenges, and we left ourselves a little bit open to a counter-attack, but ultimately it worked out pretty well until that shot went just narrowly wide. Again, we work down the left-hand side. Foden finds himself in the box onto Gibbons, who drops back at the top of the penalty box, and we lose the momentum slightly, but we've regained it down the left-hand side with Cruz, gets into the box, crosses it to the near post, nobody there, goalkeeper parries it out, and we get a corner kick. So far, we're putting the pressure on, absolutely, but we haven't quite found the quality yet to get it into the box in the right way, and that's been the disappointing element of the game so far. And Bristol City haven't done a thing against us at all. No shots at goal, therefore none on target. We've had 20 shots and 9 on target. Surely a goal is coming. Can we do it just before half time and go in 1-0 up? Magnoni with a cross in, and it's a reasonable header again from Gibbons, but not the strength on it. And we don't really challenge the goalkeeper enough. Knoll over the top into the penalty box, crosses it to the far post, and Ulysses is there again. And there is the breakthrough that we needed. A good ball out wide right to Knoll, who works his fullback very well. It's Roberto on the ball, nips it over the top of the fullback. Knoll runs onto it, gets across to the far post, over the top of the outreaching goalkeeper, and Ulysses puts a very calm header into the goal, and we go 1-0 up. And again, he's the main man for us this season, which is phenomenal. He has been brilliant, Ulysses. So we'll say you've played well so far, but there's still room for improvement, because there really is. We'll come back out and we'll go straight into the shouts and demand more from them. I know we're 1 up, but I expect more from this team. I expect them to dominate all the way through this particular match and score more goals if we can. Fill our boots if at all possible. It's a throw-in down that left-hand side, though. Worked it very nicely to Ulysses. Gibbons took his time, but eventually it falls to Roberto just inside the top of the penalty box, and he puts the low drive into the bottom corner of the net, and we go 2-0 up. I thought for a second Gibbons had wasted the chance here. Foden with a nice ball into Ulysses, cuts it back to Gibbons. There was the chance for a first-time strike. Didn't take it. I thought we'd lost out, but it was dropped back to Roberto, and he eventually gets the goal, which is fantastic. Foden with the free kick, long-range free kick. The goalkeeper has to parry it round the post for a corner kick. So we're piling on the pressure at 60 minutes. Corner comes in, partially cleared, but Ulysses picks up the loose ball, gets to cross in again, but it wasn't a good cross, was it at all? And eventually they get it cleared. Disappointing on our crosses and passes into the box today is my analysis of our situation, really. Camavinga not particularly playing well. Victor comes in for him. We're going to make excuse me, Couple more changes just to bring a couple of other players into the game and give them some game time. Noel comes out and Olart, the magnificent Olart, comes in. He's done brilliantly for us this season. And Gibbons comes out and bring the youngster Okoro on and just give him some game time to finish the season. 20 minutes or so left, 25 minutes left of the game. So plenty of opportunities still available to us to get another goal maybe, if we can work the right ball into the box. And that has been the problem so far today, is working the right ball into a crowded area to get the good shots away. We're 85 minutes in. I don't need to change anything. I don't need to go in there and scream and shout at them or anything. We're going to get through to the end of the game. 2-0 winners. Comfortable in the end. There was no major problems that Bristol City caused us. The one thing that we can analyse from the game is that our distribution into the box wasn't good enough. So we're not going to go and over-analyse this game either, just because it's the last game of the season. We'll say, well done, lads. Good win for us. And then we'll move on, basically. And we will begin to look towards next season. And next season, as I say, is all about the Champions League. I'm not interested in anything else at all. What I will do, Roberto's picked up a knock, but only for a few days. That's fine. What I'm going to do, 45 million in the bank, is go through the summer transfer window. And probably the next time you join me will be on the first day of our group games in the Champions League. So we'll have already played some Premier League games. I'm just not bothered about showing you much of the Premier League next season, because we've already now won it, which is great. It's now time to go and win that Champions League. So that's the plan. I will go through the summer transfer window, hopefully improve this setup again as much as I can, in the best way I can, and then we will hit the ground running in the Champions League next season and absolutely try everything in our power to get to that final, try and win it, but ultimately, whatever happens in the final, if we reach it, that's the end of the series. So that's where we're heading. Hope you'll join me for next season. It's going to be an interesting one. There's some potential for a couple of new good players to come in, so I will work on that. But until next season, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. Click that like button on this particular episode for me if you can. That helps me get seen by lots of other people. Until next time though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.